Hello, everyone, and welcome to Insights from Elsewhere. My name is Cynthia Portugal. I am Brazilian and I live in São Paulo, Brazil. I'm the growth director at Insight Platforms. We are an online business that helps researchers find new tools, learn how to use those tools, and see what's coming next in the industry. We host a directory, run conferences, and create content for insight professionals all over the world. We created this podcast to go beyond the big markets of North America and Western Europe. We talk to insights professionals from Latam, Asia, Africa, and beyond to find out how they are doing research, what's their experience with research technology, how they influence back their headquarters, and any curiosities about those countries. Today, I had the pleasure to talk to Soufiane Alkhatiri. I'm sorry, and I mispronouncing your name, Soufiane. I'm sorry for that. You can correct me.
Yeah.
He's from Morocco, and he brings over 18 years of experience in insights and growth. He began his career in insights roles in agencies like Cantor, and later on he moved to the client side, and he transitioned into growth strategy positions. Today, he is the VP of the Moroccan Federation of Advertisers. He will talk about all his career and how he got into the growth strategy position soon. Welcome to the podcast, Soufiane. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much, Cynthia, and thank you for this introduction. I'm really so excited to be with you today and also to share this moment talking about three things I like: insights, people, data, and growth. And honestly, I've always believed in something very simple about this is businesses don't grow, but people do. And if you understand these people, the business will flow naturally. I guess we'll have this time to discuss about three words that
Yeah.
we can deep dive.
Well, I'll tell you, Sophia, I have a really soft spot for data and data analytics. My background is all like traditional research and major CPG companies, etc. But I love a spreadsheet and like merging data and looking through this amount of data. And so I'm really digging this conversation today.
Yeah, you dig into detail.
Tell me about your professional journey overall.
Okay, so let's say my journey actually started before I realized really it was because I guess like many professionals in the industry, they didn't really realize that you will be getting into this inside industry. I was a finance guy, so I have
Wow.
diploma in finance, so nothing to be linked to this. But the common thing is about numbers and also data. So I began in research at institutes, working in consumer behavior, market sizing, social shifts, and etc. Whether in Morocco and also in the region, which is the Maghreb, where the culture is quietly common and we can really decode this culture. And very early on, I realized that insights were not, as I said, numbers, they were stories. So stories hidden in the numbers. This is how later I have really realized this because I remember when I started my career is that one of my mentors said, Soufiane, you don't have to answer things or answer questions, but you should find the right questions to dig behind the stories. And it has shifted a lot my mindset. And after that, I did grow up in this profession. Now, as you said, 18 years, but with different scope, different industries, whether in retail, telco, and all, and finally in the CPG industry. So for me, it's a very nice journey going with the numbers and inside, but also impacting businesses because at the end of the day, business impact lives, and this is things I really value because it comes from the consumers really, and go back to the consumers. So if you decode it well, you will giving it back well to the consumer.
So, how would you say, what is the role of consumer insights in growth strategy? Because I understand that you need to decode what consumers are saying to give back to them. But if you think about what is the role of consumer insights areas, how do you partner with consumer insights teams, stuff like that?
So yeah, it's the foundation. It started with data and it ended with the data. You started with what you had understood as behavior and also as reality about consumers and reality of a country. You craft things and then give the guidance through a strategy to the business. When the strategy is executed, then you will get back the monitoring of this, all what you have. It's like a cycle where you started it, you impact, and then you monitor what you started in the beginning. So, and you see to what extent you are matching what has been designed as a strategy. It's the foundation, as I said in the beginning, and also it's the fuel, because it's this fuel that we will put again into as a foundation, and it's rolling this way.
Amazing. And you are part of communities within the insights, modern advertisers and scientific committees, etc. So, how those associations help to promote the culture of insights in Morocco?
Yeah, in Morocco, the landscape is a mix of multinational and also local companies. And the culture of insight and data, it's different between multinational and local companies. Multinational has the best practices coming from outside and so on. And the local, sometimes they find it's a cost, not an investment. So my role within the federation is to promote this culture, to say that when you understand, you better get what you want to get. Because many senior leaders in the local company said, I do grow, even if without investing in data. My answer was all the time is, you maybe grow, but if you understand better, you will grow bigger. And that's for me what is amazing about the industry also, is to show you how things can be hidden and you believe that you know it all. So our role really is to partner with some agencies in Morocco that are real partners, because we try to find the topics which are the hot topics in the country, like what is about digitalization, what is the digital trends, and so on. We do, for example, a digital trends for all the advertisers and also for all the agencies and everyone, from which we know each year, and it's like a tracking, each year what are the shifts that we have from consumer perspective and also from advertisers perspective, because we lack this data sometimes. And this create like a trigger within even the organization that say that we are missing these things, or we are investing in the right direction when it comes, for example, to the digital. Sometimes we partner with some others about, let's say, how the influence of brands are on our markets. One of our partners, we did a lot of research with, to say, let's equip the community, whether advertisers, marketeers, salespeople, and also agencies, creative agencies, media agencies, and everyone in the ecosystem about what can make from a brand an influencing brand in the industry or in the country. And we have these kinds of data. We organize seminars for 1 or 2 hours of exchange, and people go back with this background. And this is work that can not be having impacts immediately, but it's a culture that we are seeding for the future. And we really start to say that many of our partners say that from this or this FMCG or any local player, we start having requests, even for some small piece of research. It starts usually by qualitative, because it's less investment and you can see people and interact with them. It's about analyzing the data on social. So it starts it's starting with the good signals for some, but you have also the other ones, even some locals, which are heavily invested. They are more senior leaders, young people, or coming from multinational background or having teams from a multinational background, or they are more sensitive about this culture of data. And then the level of discussion and also the request, and we can even at the Federation reserve some special treatment when it comes to how we want to help them to dig in some topics. One of the things we do also is that we bring some experts to deep dive, for example, on some topics like behavioral segmentations in Morocco. What are the different segments of people, of the Gen Z or whatever, and what are the things that are more specific to some sectors like services sector, for example. And we feel that there is an enthusiasm about this because one of the important things in Morocco is the position of the country within Africa. Let's say it's a carrefour between Europe and Africa and the Middle East, and this which make sometimes so complicated for people to understand the country. And also within the country, there is like a coexistence about tradition and modernity, and also coexistence about what we want to keep and what we want to be. It's like 1,000 years of culture as a civilization and the aspiration to be for the future in Morocco.
It's amazing. This is very unique, right? Being on the verge of several regions, I bet it also impacts in the culture of the country, right? You have blends from everywhere you touch.
Yeah, yes, you are right. And even sometimes between the north of Morocco and the south of Morocco, the culture can be different. The behavior can be different. For example, when we do researches, we always consider all the regions. And sometimes, more or most of the times, people, and even in my work, we ask to do deep dives by regions because each region has its specificity. North is more closer to Europe and Spain, and there is this influence of Spanish culture, Latin culture. In the middle and the Atlantic, it's more European, urban, dynamic, and the south is more, there is a mix of culture because there is a lot of tourism there, and it's like Marrakesh and so on. For example, Marrakesh is there where we test a lot of innovations, and also we test a lot. We don't test, but we get there for some ethnographies to understand what are the trends, and more of the trends are getting from there because there is a mixture of culture. There's Moroccans, there's French people, Spanish people, and living in the same city.
This is,
And just one
yeah,
thing
go.
in Morocco,
Yeah.
if you want to succeed inside, you should succeed understanding of the culture. Even if you are an advertiser or you are working in the profession, if you have this sensitive, it's, let's say, how sensitive to the culture, you will be successful. It's the
Amazing.
success.
In a lot of countries that I've been speaking to in this podcast, everyone says that because every time, for example, Brazil is included in global research strategies or everything, it's like Brazil. We have 5 completely different regions that have different perspectives, different type of people, more conservative, more modern, but
Yeah,
it's in the end of the day, we end up looking into it as a one big block. And
yeah,
most of the times, we don't even have Brazil alone in the data. It will be part of Latin America. And every time I speak to someone else in other countries, it's much more than just a country. It's like a country made of smaller pieces that are
yeah,
completely unique and different, and a region. So, and I remember seeing a lot of in my past life in corporate research. I remember saying like Latin America, big block, Africa,
yeah,
big block. Normally, Africa meant South Africa in part of South Africa research, and that's
yeah,
Africa. It was something like this.
yeah.
And it's so great to see how bigger it can get. And in terms of opportunity, I think it's huge because I would say that the English speaking markets are getting a bit saturated of opportunities and clients and
Yeah,
offers.
yeah,
So if technology wants to expand, it will need to understand those nuances in each of those countries, right, that represent
yeah.
an opportunity.
You are right. Sometimes there's this say Africa is only one country or all the countries are similar. I have worked on many countries on Africa when I was in a position looking for the whole Africa. There's a lot of differences within Africa. The north of Africa is totally different than the south and also the middle. Different culture, French culture also in inspiration sometimes or influence, and also English ones and Portuguese ones. So there's a mixture of that. And when I hear you, it's like I want to say something about this culture is not a marketing layer. You see, it's not something that we add. It's really a strategy. If I want to go back to how we can turn things into strategies, why?
Yes.
Why? Because actually, if in I guess in any country and any culture, if you win hearts, you win it all. Only the culture can speak to the hearts. And when you do it this way in your advertising, in your way of execution, in your way of thinking innovation, you will for sure succeed. And that's why we see some companies in some countries like ours. I will give you an example. One of my biggest clients, when I get to the industry, it was one of the biggest at Qatar at that time. And it was like one of the biggest also player in Morocco. And now it is the smallest one.
Wow.
And with local companies that has started, let's say, only 10 years before, which became the leaders. Why is this kinds of culture which there is not really taken into consideration? Because there was a lot of adaptation, copy paste. What worked in the Middle East can work in Morocco. Just put the ad and put the products, and it will work. They are all the same. Unfortunately, we are not all the same.
Well,
Why?
unfortunately, it's so nice to have all those different perspectives in some way.
Yes, and that's why we say that in all Africa we call it the local champions and all the players that are winning the ground because they are more grounded to the reality of the countries rather than others which are, strategy is as you said in the beginning, is crafted at zone or at global level, and then we will only do rollout and we will try the execution will be this or that way, and that's it. Yet the reality is not that, it's more complex.
Is there anything that you would say this is the most important thing that any company or insights company doing research in Morocco needs to know before even thinking of entering the region?
I guess this, I don't want to say contrast, but I want to say as I said in the beginning, the coexistence of two worlds of what we have as we have conservative culture for some regions also in our country, and we want to be more on modernity, and we are more than some many other aspects. So this is two things happening in the same time. Morocco is growing so fast in the region in many aspects, especially with what is coming as big events in Morocco, World Cup in 2030 in Morocco. It's giving a lot of opportunities to many industries. So there is this kind of, we are coping with modernity, we are growing so fast, and we have like 25% of the population is young people. These young people are rooted in their country, but also they are open to all what is coming from outside. So all the trend that you see outside, you will see it in Morocco in like 6 months. This is the challenge because we should cope continuously with this and follow it continuously. One of the things which are very important to keep in mind is this culture by region which is also valid and very important in crafting anything and also in understanding. And the second thing is it's not an easy market to enter. If you are a research company and you want to enter Morocco, it's complicated because most of the companies they do things online. We just can put Morocco as a cluster in or as a sample in one of the biggest research and we will do it online. Unfortunately, a lot of things in Morocco happen face to face. Do it online when it comes to the young people, but 75% of the population is not really online. They will not answer you online because they don't really trust what they are answering. So, because there is a culture of trust, I should trust you before I answer you. And when you have an interviewer that can knock the door and you open, sometimes people coming from outside, they are so astonished that an interview which is supposed to last like 30 minutes can last 1 hour. It's not because people don't have time, it's because they are hosting the person and they give the person their trust. Face to face is still very, very strong in Morocco, yet there is all the other alternative things that we are doing, like online, EI, Kati, Kawi, anyway. All the methodologies are there, but the challenge is there when it comes to that, and also the quality of the data is a major challenge to keep all the time this quality of the data.
Oh,
Yeah,
how would you say the quality is a problem?
the quality is the problem because again, you should have the right people going to interview the right people. Why I said the right people? Because again, I will go back to this cultural sensitivity. Sometimes people, they will not answer question like a robotic one. They express themselves. So when you answer, when it comes to a quantitative, for example, you should understand well how you will answer what he's saying or what she's saying, and you should probe once and twice sometimes because the person should really understand the context. Sometimes it's fluid, sometimes it's not the case, especially when it comes to some lower social classes and also when you go to the rural areas where you want to interview people.
Yeah.
The quality of the data that you will get should be really reliable and people understand the sensitivity and can be like I said, probing without being annoying. Some
Yes.
companies in Morocco had their interviewers since 10 or 15 years. It's not by coincidence, but because they believe they need people that has really done a lot of things to keep this consistency of how they collect this data.
Yeah, I think especially for qualitative research, I've worked in my life like with very experienced moderators that can extract anything from anyone in Brazil. But I also I've seen other moderators that don't like they are not caring about I want to build experience in doing this. They just think that qualitative research is ask questions. You have this guideline, you just ask the questions and that's it, and get an answer and that's it. But experienced moderators can make a difference when we want to have like the final output with very deep insights, right?
Yeah. And there is also one thing is about when it comes to moderators, the nuances you will get through the words because we speak Arabic and the Arabic, the dialect, which is, we call it Darija, the one of the north is different than the one of the middle and the one of the south. So there is some nuances also that you should understand so as you can really interpret well and also get it right in terms of the answers. And also there is like some social classes that can speak Arabic and French. So even
Okay.
because we speak French as well, so you should cope with this, understand when you should deep dive in French or you should deep dive in Arabic. But anyway, the idea is to say this cultural thing is important. That's why I said people are there in the industry for a long time, seniors. We do interviewers for qualitative and also for quantitative. Some are also senior people, more than 10 years of experience and 15 years, because it's an asset to have them when it comes to interviewing people and understanding what they really mean.
And thinking about all those cultural nuances, I bet that normally some headquarters or international companies have made some mistakes or they normally get something wrong in Morocco. Do you have any good stories to share with me about some time that something went wrong because people didn't know how things were in Morocco?
I guess I won't say they don't know, but I say they don't understand it the right way.
Yeah.
Because you can know, but you cannot understand it. There are, let's say, I don't want to name a company, but I will
No,
name the
you don't
kind
need
of
to.
yeah, it's about detergents. The international companies detergent are really facing hard times in Morocco since a long time because there's local champions that have become leaders and they are missing it out. When it comes to the diapers, there is a local company, diapers, that is in like a few years become leaders, and the diapers that we know over the world is not anymore leader in Morocco, and they have very few market shares, and a lot of other examples. Because in the opposite, there are some others that did understand it well, because actually they invest in the people, in local talent, let's say, and
Yeah.
put the right strategy for that, and they are still there since many years. There are like 70 years that are still there and growing, or 50 years, because actually it's a mix. You cannot know it all from somewhere else, even if you don't really leave it in the ground. And the mistake sometimes is to say that it looks like, or it's similar, then sometimes it can be the same. So, for example, it can be the same insights that we share everywhere, but the execution, if the insight is there when there is the differences. Like trying to have a global campaign, maybe it will resonate a lot in Europe, but in Africa or in North Africa or any Arabic country, it will not really resonate because it will be like, okay, fine, they are just doing advertising. Because the human truth is not there. The human truth we are trying to answer, or the tension, is not the same. But the insight is there, but the tension is not the same. So sometimes we see that a lot of campaigns or a lot of products, there is like a mismatch. And surprisingly, sometimes, even in our communities, we discuss about the cases and we say, yeah, it's so weird that this thing has been launched. And few years later, sometimes they are launched by local companies, and few years later, it becomes a success story. Because sometimes, even for us, we should really stay humble. We cannot understand the whole thing if we are not within the category or getting into it deeply. We can have our point of view as a professional, sometimes judging, but later on, when you understand the build-up of the case, we really missed. We said, even between us, you are not the target. You are not the person that we are targeting from that. Because only one thing I all the time repeat, you know, only data kill the debate of opinions. I can have my own opinion, you can have the other opinion, but because we don't see the data that has allow them or encourage them to take this kinds of decision. We should not, as also professional and inside professional, forget this, because sometimes we forgot it.
Yeah, sometimes we like to have an opinion about things, right?
Yeah.
Sofiane, what about technology for insights and analytics? What is your experience with the latest technologies, like tools and platforms?
My latest ones were right. I guess we are entering in our industry, entering a phase where I will be, of course, there is efficiency that can be brought through AI in terms of doing things and also using some others. For example, when it comes to the qualitatives, we, I was not surprised, but I will say yes, this we can now, as professional, deep dive in some things without asking the agency, please try to deep dive this or that. Because what they do, they grab everything, all the transcripts that we know for a qualitative and all the audios and so on in a database that you start just asking the questions and they can answer to deep dive some parts. So for me, this once bring a lot of efficiency to the professionals and also can deep dive things that we might not really pay attention to during the research. The other thing is about the simulation of the reality, let's say, like advertising, when we want to post-test some advertising, sometimes you need to spend like 2 weeks of field work to ask people, do you like this ad or other? Now it's only in 5 minutes. You have all the scores about how the advertising will score or not. We have did, even if we are professionals, sometimes we want to be sure that AI is really bringing this added value. For this case, we have done the research with the same methodology, but with real people to test advertising. And we asked the agency to do the same tests with AI to see the difference. And it was not for only one research. We want to do, like we say, research on research. So we did it for like 4 advertising. So it's just we confirm. And all the things that has been scored like go or no go, it was the same for AI. And since then we said that now AI is really transforming things. And one of the things also is about how AI can start boosting some sample sizes for some niche targets. It's the new wave of AI that will be coming. Some samples which are made by AI to answer some questions. I guess this is the new reality that we will be getting into. One thing that will be speeding up things and also giving us a lot of data at not a costly way and in a very quick way. But I want to say that it will be too human to understand and to take the right decision. Now it's an AI tool. It's not what will show us what we do or no, but it will only show us the way in a quick way and an efficient way, and it's up to us to interpret it in the right way.
And connect to the reality of the company, right? Because I think that's something that only humans can do. You know everything about the company you are working for, and you know how things operate. You have the commercial acumen. You understand the P&L. So sometimes it's not just about the research, but how you use this research for this specific scenario, right?
Yeah, I will go back to this because it's very important. As I said, research should all the time, if we want to be very impactful in our companies and our industries, respectively, we should all the time connect it to the business. The mistake sometimes which can happen is we don't really connect it well to the business. We connect, but not well, because if you connect it well, you will get it right, and also you will build credibility of all what is about this profession. There is gates in any industry or any company. Launching an innovation is a process. For example, you have a lot of things to test, to validate, to understand before. Launching a campaign, there is a process. Understanding where you should get into as the white spaces, there is a methodology and there is a way of doing things. And all the pieces of the research, they are only tools, but it's to the person that handling this position is to say to what should be the best to fit what. For example, in the inflation, there is a lot of researches that has been conducted for the pricing. It has been booming all the conjoint analysis and all Everyone is commanding these kinds of resources. But, some get it right. Some just say, no, we cannot really afford this because we're in the federation. We have discussed with many. We cannot really afford this because it's, the consortium resource is one of the complex and also the most
Yes.
costly ones. But when you take this kinds of decision in the company, you should be responsible that you will be impacting lives because you will be able to offer people affordable or accessible products at the right price for you as a company and also for the person. So my message here is that when you are within a company, you are the eyes of the company. So you should be aware of this responsibility because otherwise you will make many things wrong, whether for the company or whether for the consumers. And we are also consumers.
Yes, of course. And you talked about some of the technologies that you've seen lately for insights. When using those, did you face any barrier? Because you spoke in the beginning of the interview about how not everyone is connected and how it's part of the Moroccan culture to build trust before responding about them. So, is there anything else that you would say is a barrier to entering the country with technology for research and insights?
It's the language. This is the first
Language.
part of it. Yeah, it's the
Okay.
language. I will say, again, we are an Arabic country. I will give you an anecdote about this. Sometimes when we do things with some research company globally, they send us the questionnaires to validate, and the questionnaires are written with classical Arabic
Bill.
because they think this is the Arabic that we use in our daily life. There is
Good.
there's dialects. So this Arabic is like a the classical Arabic is very sophisticated. It's for administrative stuffs and more corporate stuffs, but it's not the
Yes.
spoken one. The spoken one is more dialect. There is some big differences from a country to another, yet, and also from a region to another. And the second thing is sometimes we receive things coming from the Middle East, the dialect of Lebanon, for example, or for Egypt. Let's say, yeah, we can do it. No, this is the dialect for Egypt, and it's not adapted to Morocco. And this is also the challenge of the tools of the AI is how it will incorporate this dialect and this language, and also the nuances that you can, the dialects of Morocco. This is for me the biggest barrier. And this
Yeah.
is one of the barrier that has not helped the social listening in Morocco to be developed. Social listening works very well when it comes to the Latin characters and also to French, English, or whatever, because it's written the same way, it's the same words and etc. But for Arabic, especially dialect, the same word can be written differently. And sometimes we use numbers plus letters to write the same words because it's dialect and it's because we don't find the same letter in the Arabic language, then we do it by numbers, and the numbers we know it means that this was a biggest barrier for social listening, for example, to get into our country. There's a lot of things that has been tried to develop this dialect both and etc etc. But anyway, if you can answer this, and also any research company can answer this, and also now with AI there is some good improvement on that, there will be a lot of progress and also success to make it happen.
So, thinking about AI in terms of data analytics and, understanding a broader scope of data, how do you think it's changing the landscape of data analytics? I saw that you mentioned a lot of qualitative work during the interview, which is curious because normally when I talk to someone that is into data analytics, normally they like numbers and not qualitative. So I would like to see your opinion about that.
When I started my career, it was quantitative. I have all the time believed in quantitative, and it's more accurate, it's more people, it's the concentration of the reality in one number.
Yes.
Uh, when I have moved to the client sides, especially in telco,
Yeah.
we do a lot because it was in the third operator in Morocco, it was a rising operator. So we do a lot of research. It was one of the biggest budgets in the country. And we do a lot of qualitative. And it's there when I have understood that qualitative first, then quantitative. And qualitative is it's where you better understand what is behind the numbers. And also what I said at the beginning, you understand the story behind the numbers. And you start understanding well the different strands, the different shifts. And especially when it comes to the ethnographies, because you live with people, you see your target living during the whole day. Sometimes there is no overclaim because you spend like one day with the person. It can be some overclaims in the beginning, etc. Prof call and so on. They are paying attention to that and that. But during the day, you cannot pay attention to all what you say, to all what you show. And you observe because you visit their homes, how they prepare things, how they bring their kids from schools, how they go to the shop, and so on. And for me, this can build the curiosity for the researcher or for the insight professional to start asking the right questions. You started to make the story and also to connect all with the business, because at the end of the day, it's to these people that you sell. So when you have this and you understand this reality and you start to connect with quantitative, and then you say, okay, the future should combine both. I would like to have a tool that combines both. So you have qualitative insights and so on. I have the data, and okay, do the job. Connect for me the both, and then I will take the decision without having this. Okay, we get the agency to work on both the qualitative people and quantitative. Sometimes they get understood, sometimes they don't, because you have two ways of thinking. Sometimes it's a
Yeah.
success, sometimes it's too difficult to bring together the two worlds. If also we get someone that can do that, or a tool that can do that, it can make a lot of impact. And one of the things is that the time I spend listening to people during a focus group or an IDI, sometimes I know most of the things that you will be saying, but I'm trying to listen or to look for something which is very subtle, because sometimes it's there where there is the change. It's there where there is the insight. And when you have this background of, okay, I will ask them that, I know they will answer me A, B, C, D. But in the D, can we just deep dive? Is it a D capital letter or small, or is it something, there is the D plus and D minus? Anyway, one of the things we had in the past challenge when they asked for us to find the new offer in telco. It was for us like, guys, we have all the data and insights. We know what people want. We couldn't really, we spent like 2 months just trying to find this thing. We couldn't, because they repeat for us the same things that we know. I want more promotions, I want more credit, I want more data, I want more. And one day we have an interview with some youngs, and they said, I want it all. And I want it all, but, in a flexible way. And just one guy said it in the beginning, we didn't pay attention because we were overwhelmed with all the data that come in. We were really tired because we didn't find this insights that will be changing things. When this person repeated the second time, at that time, we understand we get something. And we call it the flexi credit or the flexi recharge. And it was the new offer that has
Yeah.
rapidly grown, because it's the offer for anyone, for a young person, for a grandma, for an old one, for an adult, for whatever. And it was like a great thing. And at that moment, I really understood that it's like you have sand desert, And you see the same pieces everywhere, the same thing. And you should continue without getting tired till you find it. Because you will find
Yeah.
anyway something. This is the beauty and the challenge that you may face every day. Because, as I said, you may think you understand and you know everything, but there is all the time something which is new.
So every
And
consumer connection brings something new.
yeah, and
Every time
also
you listen.
is about consistency. You should be consistent. Consistent in the way you do it, consistent in your methodologies, consistent in your tools, consistent in the effort and energy you put in. Because without consistency, you will be get lost.
That's true. Yeah, so, well, I think AI will be able to help more connecting data like qualitative, quantitative, video, and everything. So it is helping a bit already, but I think it will get stronger and stronger. So maybe there's an opportunity there for AI to help us connect those dots, right?
Yeah.
And talking about AI, what's the coolest thing of AI you heard of or you used or you were curious about?
For me, it's real-time creative optimization. This is very,
Yes.
one, it was, because I'm thinking about this because it was all the time a nightmare for creative, for agencies, for everyone, for all marketers. Okay, we should wait, and if it's not really good, we should redo it again. And now it's real time, it's quick.
Yeah.
And also, let's say the things I said, the scientific consumers that the EI that generate a lot of sample sizes that can connect and can simulate things, and you can do it many times and many times and many times. Now, this is for me the two things that really excited me because it's also attentions, and it's
Yes.
we cannot find this kinds of target. We only find like a very small basis. We don't know if it's really accurate. A small basis can be bigger basis because of these simulations, and also these kinds of we should rework our things many times. You should not really wait for 1 month, but you can have it in 15 minutes or in 10 minutes, and you can go quickly for decision making. There are times where you should have really impact, quick impact of what you do as EI for your business and for your day-to-day life, and also things you can get excited about it to, let's say, can be for academic things, which can take time. This excites me as well. And I guess this is one of the things that really miss to do in a very accurate, recurrent way, because it will help later on the future professionals to use better these tools and also to be more connected to the reality of our jobs. When I said I did the small thing for research, it was exciting. It's for, I will find something new. But imagine if we have these kinds of things connected to many big complex issues of the industry. If you can say big research companies or new generation of companies should emphasize on is how we can find solution to us as first professional before we find it for our consumers or for our clients.
Yes, I agree. Now, to close our interview, three very quick questions for you. What's your
Yeah.
favorite insights methodology?
So it's ethnographics.
Ethnographic.
Yeah, because
Amazing.
it connects to people very grounded, especially when you go to some consumers that doesn't really look like you, and they are so different and so in somewhere which is very different, and it's you learn a lot of things, and it can bring you fuel in terms of thoughts, but also you get humble because you cannot really think about it if you didn't really connect with it.
Yes. And what's the most exciting trend in the insights industry today for you?
The trends, let's say, for me, it's the two ones that I said. It's about the synthetic data that we started to
Yeah.
see. from different resources, because it's something that was really difficult for us 5 years ago. Now it starts to make our lives easier and we can move forward quickly and take a right decision in the right timing.
What would be your piece of advice to someone starting their career today in insights?
Wow. Empathy, because you are dealing with people behind numbers. Put yourself all the time in the shoes of your consumer. This is the first thing. The second thing, it's not an easy job like all the jobs, but it's about passion and patience. It's both. Should be passionate about it and patience. The third thing is about if the person really wants to be successful in this industry and see herself or himself in that, is not to be the expert, but to be the advisor.
Yeah.
For so I guess if you want to get this prism, you will bring more impact. Yeah.
Soufiane, thank you so much for your time and for your insights, your inputs. Wow, what a rich conversation we had. So, thank you so much for being part of the podcast. And thank you all for listening to the Insights from Elsewhere podcast. Today we talked to Soufiane Alkhatiri. I will not be able to pronounce this, sorry. From Morocco. And he talked about the reality and the nuances of Morocco in terms of differences between regions, language, and even costumes. He also spoke about data analytics and how qualitative research is important when trying to understand the why behind the numbers and everything. He also talked about the local champion brands and how they manage to stay strong in Morocco and other countries because they understand what the people really feel and what they really need. And this is something very important lesson for foreign people entering, foreign companies entering Morocco. So it was a pleasure to have you here, Soufiane, and I hope we can speak soon. And for everyone, stay tuned and Insight platforms. Subscribe to get news about the insights industry weekly directly into your mailbox. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cynthia.